Hello, everyone. This is Kimmy Wyatt. Hi, and welcome to the Blue Cup in the Attic. This is the Blue Cup in the Attic circumstance or evidence number 2, re-recorded because someone deleted the video from YouTube, off my YouTube account, and it was linked. Also, there was a link to the video on my Google Plus page, and my Google Plus video, the one on there. Even if, in other words, even if the video is deleted off of YouTube, the link is still going to be there wherever you linked or embedded the link. It's just that when you click it to watch it, it's going to say this video has been removed by user or whatever. It's not on there either, and I recorded it. So thank goodness that I it's up here in my dome. Don't know who deleted that, but I'm re-recording it, and also forgot some things. So thank you to whomever that was. I was not going to do another one. There is, number 1 does have a part 2, but number 2, I was not going to do another one. And so there you have it. Okay. So I have to do it again and got everything jotted down. So what circumstance or evidence is when it deals with the Blue Cup in the Attic? There's about 8 or 9 incidences that happened in my life prior to me realizing I'm being spied on, when in actuality I've been spied on longer than what I'm thinking. Okay. Just thought about it for a week or 2, 3 weeks, 2 months, and just let it go because I had no idea that it was spying, stalking, electronic stalking, gang stalking. I had no idea that's what it was, but yeah, the reality. And also, I want to say before I get started on this, is that is one of the goals. When they first find a target, that is what happens with the target. They don't know really what's happening. And then you go, they do things in phases, and you go through those phases, okay, that they want you to go through. Phase 1 is you not having a clue, or you have an idea that something's not right, but then you let it go. You let it go again. 2 years pass by, something happened, you let it go. So that's the goal, is for you to be at a loss about what is actually happening to you. Okay. And then as you become wiser on things, and when the evidence is there, like in my case, then you're like, oh yeah, they were spying on me then. I didn't know that initially. Also, please join my YouTube channel, because I have over 170 videos, almost 180 videos there. And I talk about, I don't just talk about the Blue Cup in the Attic. I talk about a variety of things. And so, you have a choice of what videos you want via title, what you are interested in looking at. And also the Google Plus page. There's 33 collections that I have within my Google Plus page. The URL for that is plus.google.com/+sign. The first plus is spelled out +sign Kimmy Wyatt, KimMeWyatt. Okay. Once you get there, follow the page, but also you have the option of following the collections. 33, one of which is the Blue Cup in the Attic. It has a pink background as it stands right now. But it's not on the home page. There's only 4 of them depicted on the home page. And then right above those 4 samples, you can click view all, and the page will open up and show you all of my collections. Okay. 33. So you can follow them right there. Just look at the picture there, or you can click the collection and see, the all of the content, and you can say, oh yeah, this is something I want to follow. From that's interesting. Big Fish. This is a collection about people with big homes, and doing it up with a lot of money and all of that. I have um let's see, what do I have? I have 33 of them. About food, I have the Jazz Groove Cafe. I have White Folk Wednesday. That's when I post songs by white people every Wednesday. Very popular one. Let's see, I got a lot of stuff. My quotes. Oh my God, I have so many quotes that I have to, you guys, put up. I have a lot of quotes. So, pick the ones you want. And the reason why I tell you to follow the page as well as follow the individual collections that you want is because if you follow the page only, you're going to get, they work together. You're only going to get a sample of what I posted, you know, my public posts and things like that, which are not in a collection. And if you follow the individual collections, you are able to get all. That means I want to get all of the posts in this collection, and also click the notifications button. You know, that also guarantees it like a backup. Okay, so got that out of the way. So I live in an apartment complex, as I mentioned in number one. Like I said, there's 8 or 9 of these incidences where I feel I may have been watched. Really, I have been watched longer than what when I discovered that I was being watched, which is the reason why this was deleted. Because I lived in an apartment complex, 2009, 6-month lease. I only wanted a 6 months lease. I remember, like I said in number one, the manager was very prejudiced. I did not mention in that video, however, because most times when that word prejudice is put out there, it's about white people. But I want to stress here, or say here, and also I put it in the notes of the video, she was not white. The manager was Guatemalan. I remember, because she was so prejudiced, asking her what was her race, because it threw me off that she would be a Hispanic or Mexican and be that prejudiced. People have told me there's a lot of prejudiced Hispanics, and I was like, no, they can't be. They're trying to rock and roll like Black African people. They don't have anything. How can they be prejudiced? You know, and most of them, I'm just saying, you know, I'm just keeping it real. Most of them are on the same level we are. Why would they, you know, that's just, I was wrong. But I also found out that they're of Hispanic descent. These are Guatemalans, Salvadorians, Hondurans. And most of them are really, truly not Mexican. You know, like 100% mom and dad, you know, both Mexican or Hispanic. And so she told me she was Guatemalan. And I was like, okay. Still didn't put it together. Very prejudiced lady. So I want to tell you that she was not a white lady. She was Guatemalan. So that explains, you know. And also the complex I moved from, as well as this particular complex, they didn't speak to Black African people. They did not like, they, you know, I got eyes rolled at me a lot. All of this, you guys, is in retrospect. It's like, God, I am literally putting a puzzle together in my life, literally piece by piece. I remember eyes being rolled at me, you know, like, you know, but they weren't Hispanic. Okay. So here we go. First thing, this is in no order of the 6 months. I mean, this is no particular order. But I'm going to say this, because this is not on here. And I just tried to record this and I ran out of time. So, and it dawned on me while recording in my living room, and there's other incidences about my living room. In my living room in that apartment complex, I don't remember if I had actual curtains up or if I had just something up to the window, 6-month lease, you know. But I remembered while doing this video, but I, like I said, I had to delete it because it ran out of time. Something going on. I keep looking up here. It was something going on where I was either hearing someone above my head, look, definitely over there. They, you know, in other words, this was an old apartment complex like the one I moved from. The one I moved from was built in 1961. Go figure. And so they have firewalls, and I'm sure these have some type of firewalls, but they had firewalls to keep my apartment from burning if your apartment was burning, at least that wall. And so the guy would get up there via the firewall or whatever where I moved from and do his thing, you know, watching with the high-tech cameras and getting up there and doing and spying on me. This apartment, however, 2009 is an old apartment complex as well. Don't know if it's still there, so I use the word is, or it was an older apartment complex. And I'm trying to remember exactly what that was, but something was going on in the living room where I had to keep moving the curtains, and this I do know. I know I felt like I was being spied on, but couldn't put my finger on it. Like I said earlier, that's the goal. I knew something. I would hear noises and things, you know, and yeah, I would hear noises and yeah, high-tech equipment. And because the lady told me too, this was happening to her in 2004. You know, white lady. And I never met her in my life. She was from Houston, but she was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Well, you know, we call Dallas-Fort Worth. She was in Dallas, rather, at the time. And I was like, this was just 2016. Doesn't seem that long. Seems like yesterday. But yeah, this was 2016 when she told me. She said, she had a camera detector. I got to give you guys the update on the camera detector as well. I will be doing that. And so she even let me borrow it. But keep in mind, this was an older camera detector. The battery was going out, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So I really could not use it over there. So moving right along, yeah, there was something going on where I had to keep moving the curtain or whatever that was, left and right or whatever, because, you know, in all of this will come all of it detailed. I'm a very detailed person when I talk. I'm a very detailed person when I write everything. So yeah, all of this will, I'm 89% there. And the other percentage as to what exactly happened will come. Okay. Second thing I want to say is my meat. When I go to the store and I can afford to do this, I buy the big packages of meat. My mother did the same thing. Although she didn't really have to separate hers because she was cooking for herself and my brothers, and my dad, when my dad was there, 7 people. But me, I buy them like her, like she did, because of the discount, and then I will repackage them in smaller portions. And so I had bought meat, ground chuck. I love ground chuck as opposed to ground meat and regular ground meat. And so I had bought a big, huge package of fajita meat, which disappeared out of my refrigerator. Fajita meat, Hispanics, Mexicans, Guatemalans, Salvadorians, Hondurans. Yeah, it disappeared. And I remember contacting the manager, and it took her forever to get back in touch with me. And it's something, I don't know how that was resolved, but it was stolen. Somebody was stealing food here all of a sudden, and that particular maintenance dude is no longer with the complex. But yeah, somebody, and I'm not saying that's why. I'm just saying he's no longer here. And or put it this way, I haven't heard of anyone's things being stolen since this guy has been gone. There you go. Okay, but I got something to show you guys in my kitchen. Matter of fact, I better go do that now. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. By the way, this chair is going to be for sale. I am selling this chair, and I just cleaned it. As a matter of fact, got the dust and stuff off of it. Okay, but this area right here. Okay, my back has been hurting me, you guys. Stretched a part of my back. This has happened like 3 times in this apartment, because when I go to sleep, I have to move some pretty heavy stuff just to cover myself up. And this is every single time I go to sleep. And so stretch my back or whatever, I think. Who knows? And I say I think because someone could have come in and put something in something, but I don't know. But either way, lady in another breezeway, she gave me some gel as well as a cream they were prescribed, that her doctor had prescribed for her. She told me I could have them. You know, we give each other things, and with that, you know, I was giving her things, but now, you know, with that, we give each other things. And, you know, I give her food or whatever if I have extra food, and not saying she's hungry and need it, but it's just me here. So if I have extra food, I'll give it to her, you know. And so I get access to a lot of things. So anywho, sitting here was a bottle, about an 8-ounce white bottle of a concoction, or, you know, prescribed gel that I was putting on my back to help ease the pain, you know. And she also gave me a cream. So the first day I left them on the cabinet in my kitchen on the island. But the second day, and I say days because before I leave out, I try to keep my place pretty, you know, clean or whatever and up to par. And so what I did was I put them here, just sat them there. Didn't mess with them when I got back, but I noticed last night, or was it earlier today, that bottle was dismantled basically, and I was like, what is this, all this stuff up here? This was all greasy looking. Well, someone had come in and manipulated that bottle, and all of the stuff was, it had about, I'm telling you, it had about that much left, you guys. I'm telling you, in it, and it just was like an 8 ounce deal. Um, and so I got a small plate. I don't let them win at all. And I got my hands, oh, hold on. I got my hands like this and was sliding it on the plate, dipping and sliding it on the plate to put the excess, or to put it on the plate. And from there, I had some bottles with dropper tops, where you can squeeze and pull up the liquid content. And I needed 2 of them. Thought I just needed one, and I was able to extract from that plate a bottle and a half of that stuff for my back that she gave me, which probably pissed them off because it was done on purpose. The reason for that, you guys, we're talking some idiots, okay? The reason why they don't want my back to heal is because when I'm sleeping on the floor in my bedroom, for instance, I'm able to, if I hear them on a wall, let's just say this is me and that's a wall, but I'm facing that way. And then when I hear them over there, I'll turn my back to them and face, the camera. And, and it's constantly doing this because I'm in pretty good health. And so I can do that. And so it pisses them off. They didn't want me to have my back fixed because if my back is feeling better, I could move around. So, and that way they couldn't see me dropping the equipment down from upstairs. So I had to tell you guys that. And so let me go back. Okay, and I'm back. Like I said, I'm not the dumbest cookie in the cookie jar. They are very well aware of that. And one thing I'm aware of them, they're not the dumbest cookie, but they're dumb criminals. 2 different things. They do things because the average person would not figure out what they're doing. Okay, they just wouldn't. There are so many people being spied on right now, you guys, and this is why they do not like me. I don't care. They're spying on so many people, and these people don't have a freaking clue. Could be you that you're being spied on, or they're being spied on. And then when someone like me myself comes along and tells them, oh no, well, one guy just flat out told me by the pool, well, nobody's spying in my apartment, probably because you're a perv. But we got into a little spat. I said, how do you know? How do you, not saying they are, but how do you know? So there you go. So yeah, fajita meat, to get back to it. Fajita meat was stolen out of my refrigerator. And I remember just opening up my refrigerator and just standing there, my freezer, looking in my freezer like, huh? I haven't given my key to anyone. No one had my key. You just don't think that it's maintenance. And I do know one thing that happened for some reason. They hired a new maintenance couple, a white lady and her boyfriend, or a husband, who they love me. I mean, and as a matter of fact, I had a shoe chair, that, the big chair that's made like a high heel shoe. And she actually bought that chair from me. And so I remember them, and they were new to the complex, but very sweet. Okay, this is a biggie. In this particular apartment complex, my daughter was living with me. My daughter was with me. She had her own bedroom, and when I would look out her bedroom window, I would see across the way, mind you, I'm in the very back apartment. And there's the driveway, where you can drive and park. And there's a fence. On the other side of that fence was residential backyards. And every time I would look at my daughter's window, there would be this Hispanic dude, and shorter than this white dude, but Hispanic and a white dude. White dude's big, heavy, dude. And this is shorter Hispanic dude looking in my daughter's window. I mean, like literally every time. And it was to the point where initially, it seems like I remember something hanging there, but when I started, because I'm looking at them, this is my daughter's room, what are you looking at? I noticed they didn't have any more curtains or anything up there at all. They would. So what I did, I remember my daughter had gone to, her dad and I had separated, and I remember we were divorced by this time. And so she had gone to visit her father for the weekend. It was his weekend to have her. And I remember cutting her light on, waiting until the sun went down. and because they didn't know she wasn't where she was, thinking they were gonna see her. And so I remember waiting till the sun came down and going outside and looking and noticing that you could see in her. I turned her bedroom light on, and I noticed that you could see in her room. So what I did, I went in back in and I covered up the window with something. But I also noticed when I would look out the window after that, it dissipated. I mean, they kind of stopped a little bit, but they were still doing it. I mean, they were doing this like constantly, and they kind of came back. But I'm like, okay. So after I put that whatever it was in her window, I went back down to see if you could see through it, and you basically couldn't see anything. The light was on, you couldn't see it. If you saw a silhouette or something, because she wasn't there, um, to show me, let me see, then I knew that they couldn't see. Not thinking about cameras at all, just thinking, oh, these perverts are looking at my daughter, or trying to, when she's getting dressed, you guys. But then I noticed they were still looking, like I said, but not as much. I'm like, retrospect cameras. That's probably when the cameras got put into the apartment. Okay. Because I'm leaving, I don't know. I'm taking her to school in the mornings. Whatever I had to do. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. Which goes to the next one. The back, my patio, I was on the second floor, and I had two entry or exit entries to my patio. One was in the bedroom and one was in the living room. You can go out either one of those to go to my patio. And I kept noticing, not the living room one, but the one in the bedroom was kept being unlocked. The one in the living room was like unlocked once or twice, but blew it off. Okay. But the one in my bedroom was continuously unlocked for some reason when I would lock it. And so it got to the point where I had to call maintenance and have maintenance come and look at my lock, fix it, because I'm locking this, but when I'm coming back from somewhere, you're not thinking, something's not right. And it seemed like it had like a little like it was done manipulatively, had, the door was not closing all the way, like a little, like it was done in this, on purpose. And I mentioned in number one and number two of circumstance or evidence are the same apartment. And I think I mentioned in that one, if I did not mention in number one, that I noticed when I would go out on my balcony, sometimes there would be a Hispanic dude, Hispanic descent, down on the ground, pacing like right in front of, he would go here and then come back. He would never keep walking this way or walking that way. And then one day I had come out there and in the daytime and looked down and saw him, and he didn't see me, but he would always be walking, looking at his phone. Cameras, Wi-Fi. And then when he saw that I had been looking at him for some minutes, I mean, just looking down at him, and he's just standing down below my apartment. There's an apartment down there, but he's standing on the ground, just looking at his phone. And then he did the double take, and I'm sorry, you guys couldn't even see me. He did the double take and looked up at me, and that's when he started back walking. I'm like, okay, dude, what was that all about? What are you doing? Like I said, I knew something was, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Okay, and so these two guys, back to them. The apartment, that was 2009, December of 2008 to May of 2009. Where I moved from, you guys, there were two guys. As a matter of fact, got to the point where we mean mugged each other, because every time I would come out, these guys would come out. I go back in, they would go back in. And it got to the point where I would trick them. I would come out and they would come out within 30 seconds, and then I would go back in and then come right back out. When I see them going in, I would come right back out. They caught on really quick that I knew that I was being spied on, that I knew I had cameras in my apartment, that I knew what they were doing. And they weren't the only ones that would come out when I would come out. But these two guys looked just like the two guys that were looking in my daughter's window. Taller white guy, but stocky, big tall white guy, the long reddish hair with the reddish beard and all that hanging down, whatever. And on the brink of, well, he was obese, big dude. And then This little Hispanic dude who started putting on shades when I would come outside my last apartment. He started putting shades on. You know, this guy would like, he's just coming outside, but he's got his shades on. And you're just stepping outside. Really? And then he go back in. You weren't doing that before. Evidence, circumstance or evidence, evidence. Okay. And then, like I said, it got to the point where we just started I would mean mug them, and we would do the stir down. I would stir at them, and they would stir at me. Okay. Patio door. But yeah, look just like these two got height, body size, body mass, everything. Looked like the same two guys that lived in the apartment, in the home, in the that was on the in the by the back behind the apartment complex. I live back there, on the street. Another thing I want to say about that, you have different ways you can come back into the apartment complex or leave, or leave or come back. And of course, they lived on the street. So I could go on that street to get back to my apartment, or leaving out of my apartment, go on that street. And I noticed there was always, most times, a cable truck, Time Warner, in front of that home. Keep in mind, when I looked out my daughter's window, I could see, basically where they lived. And so I found out what home it was by driving on the street. And so, yeah, there was always, most times, I keep saying always, most times. I mean, there was most times a Time Warner cable truck in front of that home. And I mean, I'm leaving out the neighborhood, leaving and coming back. That's weird. There's a lot of them. Spectrum is here a lot, but it's like different kind of vehicles. Like, Spectrum is Spectrum. Spectrum used to be Time Warner. So why are I'm seeing you guys in all kind of different contractor trucks and all kinds of trucks? And I know they have contractors, but I'm not the only one who has noticed this. Another female noticed it. As a matter of fact, two females have noticed it. Like, and there's always Spectrum here, and some of these people don't even have Spectrum. Really? Just saw Spectrum today. Today's Saturday. Not saying they don't work on Saturday. I'm not saying that, but just saw a Spectrum. I had to go see what vehicle it was because it was almost unmarked. Okay. And also my ex-boyfriend and I, my guy friend, noticed just sitting in his vehicle, maintenance taking some kind of camera thing to the ride, not camera, some kind of video thing to the riser room. The riser room is the room that holds all of the bells and whistles for the alarm systems, the fire system in your apartments. And each building has one or probably two. On the another one, I think one, because this building has one. And there used to be cameras on top of the riser room. They're disappeared. So which I already noticed, but we both noticed that we were looking at him because he lives in this kind of like a house where they keep the supplies and things. He basically lives in there, you guys. He backs his truck in. He stays in there for hours on Sunday. I'm like, this is Sunday, dude. You've been in there for 5 hours, but there is building 5 right across, and there's a lot of young ladies in that building. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Okay, and from what I understand, there's a lot of cameras. I made sure the person who told me this was talking about the cameras on the outside, and they were like, no, these cameras are supposed to be on that. These cameras are in, I'm saying supposed to be. These cameras are on the inside of this particular, it's like a house. It's like a mini house. Where the storage, where they put their stuff, but they can actually, a vehicle can back in. They can actually put the vehicles that they use to drive around, the little carts, are kept in there. And so you can put I've seen the other maintenance guy vehicle in there. He's working on his vehicle just like he's at home. Okay, let me hurry this up because I only have a couple of minutes. So I just talked about the mean mugging. Okay, lastly, plugs in the living room. I had set up my desk in the living room, and I had to keep moving it for some reason. I'm like, what's going on with these plugs? I got a surge suppressor. Why am I having to keep moving my desk from this plug, electrical outlet? It just kept going out because they got to use your electricity to keep these cameras going. And I knew then I would sleep on the floor sometime there, and I would I would cover myself up because I remember all of this. Sleeping next to my desktop. Sometimes my desktop would be on the floor because I kept having to move it, and I'm like, this plug was just working. Why come it's not working? It was just working. So I had to literally rig plugs to the living room from my daughter's room. Okay. Her room would have been the next room, and my room was across the hall so that no one tripped. Her room was on the other same side of the living room. So I had to put plugs, and I remember buying an adapter, a 3-prong adapter, so that I could, plug my printer and stuff in it, because it's only 2 prongs, and plug, I had to do something with an adapter. So this is Kimmy Wyatt. Thank you for joining this, the Blue Cup in the Attic. This is the Blue Cup in the Attic circumstance or evidence number 2, re-recorded. And I hope I didn't forget anything, but I'm running out of time. Yeah, yeah. I know in my heart that these are the same 2 guys. And I want to say this. These guys are not gay. I thought they were gay at some point in my last apartment. I'm like, but no, they're not gay. You never see them holding hands. There's no affection. They're not saying this is what gay people do. I'm just saying you could tell these guys were not gay. This is business. Over there, the same thing. In 2009. They've been doing this for years. They've been doing this.